Yeah, I think it's a pretty big occasion by the sounds of it and the looks of it. But yeah, it doesn't change anything from playing a test match. You need to prepare the same way. 3-1 scoreline is on the board, and despite the scoreline, you want to win every test match that you play. Different challenges will be posed in these games. In this game, I think the weather is going to be slightly different to where we played so far. So yeah, all that factored in. Just have to look at what's on hand and go about doing your business. I think beyond all the motivational factors of what it means to me, my friends, my family, everybody, all those that have been associated with me over the years. More than the destination, I think the journey has been very special. So, firstly, I'd like to recognize that. And secondly, I think it's, in a way, I wouldn't say it's motivation for a lot of cricketers that come from the state, but I think it's an experience that I'd like to share with many more that come from my part of the country. I think there is a lot of talent out there. There has been a lot of talent. Make no mistake about the ability that those people had in the past or those that will have in the future. But embracing the culture of what Indian cricket really is and what to expect and how exactly to go about it is something that I would probably like to epitomize for the future and also share the journey with a lot more people who can make it here. I also really hope and wish that many more come from there and go on to achieve even better things than I have. I think from a journalist point of view, it would be a lot more safer if you guys answered that question. Because I am in the thick of things, in the middle of it, doing what I'm doing. Sometimes I'm giving the wrong answers, doing the wrong things. Many a times I'd like to think I've done the right things as well on the field. So I think it's very difficult to reflect as you're going through it. Maybe a bird's eye view or a third person's perspective will always be better. And from my side, the journey has been wonderful. All I can say is it's been a wonderful journey with lots of ups and downs, a lot of learnings, and a lot more learnings that will come through it. I think the game by itself in different walks, not just as a player, in whatever way you are associated with the game, I'm sure even as people who are sitting in front of me today, it's given you a lot to learn as well over the years. So I think the game is the biggest thing that it is the biggest thing as far as I'm concerned, and it's taught me a lot, and I would really cherish the journey that it's given me. So I think one of the turning points of my life was that English series when Cook came here and made all those runs, and along with Peterson, who had a great game in Mumbai. It's been spoken about and talked about, and it was at that point of time spoken about a lot. But to me, that and what led up to the next series where we were going to play Australia here at home, and there was a lot of noise of me being left out of the team and all that. And recently, one of the selectors, those involved, had a chat with me as well about it. And what was the thought process and stuff like that. I found it a bit, at that time, it was a bit nervy because I didn't know where it came from, because I played like 3 series, had my first series in Australia, bowled really well in Melbourne, had a decent test match at Adelaide, came back, I'd been player of the series twice before that, and was on the verge of being left out. And I felt I was very young as well into international cricket, and I felt, okay, is that all? Is that the time that I've got here? But when I went back and reflected upon it, and after all those articles written and all those people saying what they had to say, there's one thing that dawned upon me about what was wrong with me. And that is that's a wonderful lesson I've still kept with me all these years down the line, because whatever happens, we can hold a lot of complaints against somebody external, or we can blame it on another individual. But for me, if you looked internally, at least you can improve by another 5%. Unless and until there's something wrong with you, people are not going to throw punches at you or point fingers at you. And when I looked back at it and looked at it intrinsically, I felt I knew what I had to correct. And ever since then, it's been about addressing downs and troubleshooting for all the questions that were thrown upon me. Some of the questions I raised upon myself mostly and largely. And like I said, that's probably been a very motivating factor for me over the years to reflect upon the downs and work on it. In fact, I would say maybe there is a little psychic in there who wants those things to happen and wants to work on it. So yeah, that's why I think learning is one of the biggest things this game has taught me, and correcting those mistakes is an ability that I've acquired over the years, and I'm thankful for the game to have given that to me. I would always, like I said, it's test wins that stand tall when you finish and when you complete. But after having given it a lot of thought and also thinking if it would sound really narcissistic, then I decided to let go of it. One of the finest spells I bowled has to be the one in Birmingham in 2018-19. I bowled both the innings. I thought almost when I got those 3 wickets on the morning of day 3, when England was some 40, 50, I don't know exactly how much for 3. I got Cook, Root, and I can't remember who the other, maybe Jennings. I got 7 in the game. I felt like I had almost bowled India to a victory at Birmingham, but didn't happen. That has to be one of the finest spells I've bowled, leaving India's victory aside, and that's why that probably will rank lesser. A test match at Bangalore, where I bowled a spell on day 2 morning, not for many rewards, and day 1 at Centurion in 2018-19 again. To South Africa, got 4 for, could have been a 6 or a 7 for, didn't happen. But yeah, that was a good spell as well. So those are 3 spells that will stand out when I look at it. There's several fifers and several wins that have happened over the years. But these are spells that you'll remember for how it came out of the hand, what it meant to you personally. 21 years ago, I was here for 2 months, played under-19 cricket all along. Since I played a few first-class games. I think one first-class game, which I very fondly remember. It was a game just before I got selected for the Indian team. Got a fine innings with the bat, both innings, 1 and 2. Then played a game or 2 here for CSK, but I know it's pretty cold here. It will take a bit of time for your fingers to just adjust and stuff like that. But I think this is a little more colder than what it is usually here in March. So yeah, we'll have to wait and watch. We haven't got a lot of practice here. We don't know how it's going to be, and that's the beauty of it. There's a lot of unknowns. Sometimes when you're traveling within India also, it looks like an away game for you. I mean, the only way you'll find an answer for that is if you had to reduce a time machine, me playing, and then whether the result would have been different. Look, it's always disappointing to leave to not play a particular game for your country, and when you know you're bowling well and all that. But again, I would definitely make peace of it, saying, okay, the team definitely took the decision in the best interest of the team. I don't think any captain or any coach really wants to leave out a player that they believe can be of use in that particular game. From their perspective, they would have thought they would have made the best decision at that point of time. So even though you're disappointed, you will have to come around the fact that it is a team game and sometimes maybe someone else playing that game. Look, not a lot of teams around the world have what India has, and the person who's taking my place is Ravindra Jadeja, and he's been batting pretty well. As you see his averages with the bat, I think that's where he's outscored me in those games, and the team believes that he's been batting really well, and bowling might not be such a big factor because of the pitches that we might play in England and sometimes in South Africa. So yeah, I mean, I would say I'd make peace with that. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't know really, because I mean, I probably worked a little bit more harder on my batting, maybe a few thousand runs more, and maybe a better. I put in efforts. I wouldn't shirk away the thing and say I haven't put in the efforts and things haven't worked for me or anything like that. I've consistently put the efforts with the bat. From someone who couldn't clear the 30-yard circle when I started playing T20 cricket in 2008 or 7. I've come a long way. I mean, I've won games with the bat, hit sixes at the vital stages of the game. So I've consistently, that's one thing that will probably make me very proud. Not the number of wickets, number of runs, number of games. It's the fact that I've always remained very uncomfortable. Staying extremely uncomfortable is a very, very important trait to have if you're in international cricket. More so if you're an Indian international cricketer. Treading a very careful line of not making this a punch. But it's more of a lack of understanding when you say that I came through the T20 format, because I had a good 30-40 match first class stint before I made it to the Indian team. The same year I made my test debut, I got a fifer in the rest of India game for the rest of India side in the Irani Trophy. I had played 3-4 seasons of club cricket in Chennai. You might say, what are the standard differences there? But I played 3-4 years of club cricket there, probably mentored by seniors. Told where I've made mistakes, corrected my disciplines, bowled long spells, been there all 3 days, batted and bowled. It's a very I would say it really builds your resolve as a cricketer when you do all those things. T20 happened by accident, and I didn't know what T20 cricket was like. Played Syed Mushtaq Ali in 2008 for the first time. We were the winners. Got a CSK contract, which also happened because I got a fifer in a 50-over game playing club cricket in Chennai. So, look, I'm deeply indebted for being there at the right place, right time, and also the right kind of people seeing me. A lot of things need to go your way when you have to get the breakthrough and also continue playing for so many years. I'm indebted for all those things. but I wouldn't definitely agree that I came through the white ball to the red ball format. It was the other way around. Yes, the journey have coincided, and IPL gave me the stage. It's like you dancing inside an auditorium in Chennai, vis-a-vis dancing on a global platform, right? And that's what IPL gave me. So, for all of a sudden, people, if I had to probably pick up another 150 wickets to be a Test cricketer, I had to do much lesser because I got the stage in the IPL. So that's very important. It's extremely important to respect the roots of your game, and the game will give you enough dividends if you do so. One of my biggest problems is have giant-sized memory. I can go back into the closet and remember many things, which has helped me over the years, but it's also a big drawback. Because I have a great memory, I think people think I value numbers. I actually don't value numbers. It doesn't mean anything to me. These 100 test matches, the 100th test match, I think means at least 10 to 100x more to my dad than it does to me. It probably means a lot more to my wife than it does to me and to my mom. In fact, my daughters are more excited than I am for this game, frankly. It's just another number. I think I've reiterated it again and again. Zahir Khan was a 94th test. He got a 5 for, didn't go on to play a 100th test match. MS Dhoni didn't. MS Dhoni could have very well rode on and played till 100. He didn't. I'm not saying it's not a great feat. For different purposes of where I come from and what I've done and how it can be a changing point for people who come from my state, I think it's a great achievement. Beyond that, I think playing test matches for such a long time and even playing Indian cricket for a long time and being on the road, the kind of sacrifices a family needs to make is enormous. There is a lot more emphasis on the value that a family brings to the table in countries beyond India. I think it still doesn't dawn upon us. When families make tours and tour abroad, I think people get the feeling that they're on a holiday. It actually isn't. You're booted up inside a hotel room. Once you lose a game, you don't feel like going down for dinner. You're ordering in all the time. You're staying in a very small room, and it's hard work. And the kind of mental agony sometimes they could go through is phenomenal. I mean, my father feels obliged to pick up 40 calls and answer why his son wasn't the greatest on a particular day. Can be extremely cruel, man. And he does that. And I've told him over the years that you don't have to. You're not obliged to answer anybody. But he just finds, I don't know, it's crazy. Even now my dad watches the game like he watches the first test match that I played. So the journey he travels, he's got a heart failure. He's gone through the hospital twice. My mom's again been in the hospital. I don't know for what joy they're doing it. They continue doing it. And I think this is a wonderful story. Every household, has these sort of stories. You see many more people coming from different hamlets of the country having some, unbelievable stories. But the family goes through a lot. Just because they hail from a country with 1 billion people, it doesn't mean their journeys and family should mean lesser for them. But when I played first class cricket, before I played first class cricket, I've had the joy, and even in first class cricket, the absolute privilege to bowl to some of the gun batters of spin that I have ever encountered. I would just name a few. I've had the privilege of bowling to him in the nets. Haven't really encountered much of him in the game. Badrinath, I felt he was one of the finest batters of spin. Then Mithun Manas from Delhi, one of the finest players of spin. Rajat Bhatia again from Delhi. These are I still feel some of the greatest batters against spin that I would have completely not wanted to encounter in international cricket. They were some of the most wonderful batters of spin, and they were my finishing school before I started playing international cricket. So I would like to take my hat out because they gave me some valuable lessons over the years.